method is going to be using the part and whole model here. Exactly the same question. I went to the shop and I spent £2.80. I paid with a £5 note. How much change should I get? We know the answer already. The answer isn't important, it's how we get there. So, on this method, I'm going to look at the part and whole model first. The top circle is the whole, and then I've got two parts coming off it. So the whole here, I'm going to put my £5 in there, because by going to the shop and buying something, I'm effectively breaking up that £5, aren't I? That £5 was the whole money I had, and I'm breaking it into parts. One part is the part I'm spending on something, and the other part is the change that I'm getting back. So what I'm going to do with that £5 now, in order to work out how much change I've got, is I'm going to partition it. I know I've got to take away £2.80, and it's taking away that 80p that's going to be the tricky part. So I'm going to partition this £5 into £4 and into 100p. Now what I've done is I've kept that £5 as the whole, and I've partitioned it into 4 whole pounds here, but I've taken £1 and I've changed it into this 100 pennies, and the reason I've done that is to make it easier to take the 80p off there. As I said on the previous slides, it's always easier to take 80p away from 100 pennies than from a pound. So I can now take away £2 from this £4, and 4 take away 2 would leave me with 2, and I can take away the 80p from this 100 pennies, and I know that 10 take away 8 would be 2, 100 take away 80 would leave me with 20. So then if I add these both together, the two, important to remember, that's pounds and that's pence. If I add them together, I will then be left with £2 and 20p there. So that's one way you can use the part and whole model to find the change when you've gone to a shop. The last thing I want to talk about is bar models here. So you can represent this journey to the shop on a bar model like this, and you may see it represented in questions like this. Again, you've got £5 when you go to the shops. £2.80 of that has been taken and spent on some items. And then this part over here is representing the change. Now, when I teach this in class, lots of children then try and draw a bar model to try and work out the change. However, the bar model isn't as effective as the number line and the part and whole model for working out the change. It's a very good method for representing a question and trying to visualize what the question is asking you. However, you have to then also find out the change, and that's quite hard to do on a bar model there. You need to go back to one of the strategies and to use one of the previous strategies to work that out. It's a really good way of representing the story of the question. Lots of times we'll come across a bar model that looks like this, which is incorrect, because what you're saying here is you're saying you've got £5, you've got £2.80, and you've got some unknown quantity. What that's suggesting is that actually you started with a lot more money. It means you've got your change, you've got your £2.80 worth of items, and you've got your £5, but you haven't, because when you spend your £2.80, you haven't got your £5 anymore, because you've had to give the £2.80 over to the shopkeeper in order for exchange of the items that you've bought. So that bar model there is actually incorrect. You could see a bar model that looks like this. You go to the shop with £10 note, You buy a toy for £4.40, you buy another toy for £4.40. How much have you got left? So bar models can have more than 2 parts to them. This one's got 3 parts. So it's trying to find out how much you'll have left after you've bought these 2 items if you spend £10. We could work that out on a number line. Let's just change the thickness. There we go. So what I would do is I would add together these 2 numbers here to find out how much you spent all together. And my bar model would now look like this, and I know that's £8.80. So now I can, by adding this extra row onto my bar model, I can now see I've got £10 note in the start here. I've spent £8.80. How much is my change? It's easier to manage now that I've added these 2 values together. Now I can find that I can put 10 at this side, £8.80 at this side. I'm going to use the first method I showed you. I'm going to count on. So I'm going to get to the nearest safe pound, which again it's 80, so now I'm going to add 20 onto there. So if I add 20p onto here, I'll get to £9. And then I know I've only got to add £1 on to get to £10. I'm going to add these 2 values together. 20p plus £1 would leave me with £1 and 20 pence. So if I spent £4.40 and another £4.40 and I bought those items with a £10 note, I should be left with £1.20 change.